So the GFL has cancelled their first event, which was meant to go down May 24th and 25th. It's just been cancelled. A lot of people were saying this thing wouldn't even happen. So the first official bookings have been postponed apparently. So not cancelled. They probably will, or at least they're going to try and do a GFL event. I'll believe it when I see it because it just seems like anything that could go wrong is going wrong. But yeah, this is an interesting situation. I hope it goes ahead because I just want to see how this thing plays out. I want to see it. Maybe this thing will turn out to be really good. But I've heard, and this is just from the grapevines, is what I've heard personally. I haven't like fully checked this out myself, and not that I even could, 'cause, GFL. But from what I've heard is that there was some problems with a lot of the visas for the international cards. Obviously, they were meant to be events in Abu Dhabi, and there was meant to be an event in so and so. I've heard that there's like been a problem with that and some of the international fighters' visas, so they might just be turning it into a US only uh, season. That's just what I've heard. I don't know. I can't say with certainty that's 100% true, but that's just what I've heard. Yeah, like I said, that's what I've heard that's been going around. But it'll be interesting to see if that does turn out to be the case, because obviously there are a lot of international former UFC fighters they had for this, like Alexander Gustafsson. He'd be one of them. They had a lot of Brazilians, but a lot of these Brazilian guys, say US only, but a lot of these Brazilian guys obviously live in America. They live in Florida. They train at American Top Team. Like I think those guys wouldn't. I think those guys would still fight. I think it's the guys who don't live in the US that they're having problems with visa wise. I'm not sure why this is only happening with the GFL. Like you don't ever hear about the LFA having problems with visas and all this stuff. Like there's so many regional small time MMA promotions that they don't seem to have these problems. So it is a bit weird that all things considered, the GFL are having these apparent problems. Now, who knows? Maybe this doesn't turn out to be true, but like I said, this is just what I've heard. But it would be very amateurish if they can't fix this because, like, there's Australian regional promotions that seem to get their visas and everything for Japanese talent to come fight in Australia. So I can't see why the GFL wouldn't be able to figure that out unless there's more to the story. But yeah, it seems like they're going to book it for June, but we'll see. We'll see what fucking happens, man. June, it's not too far. It's just another month, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I really do want to see like Dylan Tanner versus Tony Ferguson. I know a lot of people are hating on the fight, but I actually think it's like sort of winnable for Tony Ferguson. Maybe not, but who knows? Uh, I mean, most people don't think this thing's gonna happen. To be fair, but you got to think about it this way. It's really shitty for the guys who left the UFC because they heard about all these big money opportunities. Like Chris Weidman retired, and then like got cut, left for. I mean, he wouldn't have had much more success in the UFC. But then there was people like Knudsen, like Josephine Knudsen, who was only had one loss in the UFC. She left for it, and of course there was other fighters who left PFL, Bellator, the UFC, like all of these different promotions. They all left because they thought they were going to get this big payday, and now they've all left, and the UFC aren't going to take these people back. It's pretty shitty. It's a shitty situation. So I do hope, for all the fighters' sakes, they at least get an event or two out of this, and they get their money. But I just want to see how this thing plays out. This is like a big deal, when you think about it. This is like, this is like a freak show event. This is like the modern day Affliction, but at least Affliction had a few events before they went under. And I think wasn't it just because Fedor? Oh no, it's because Josh Barnett tested positive. That's what broke the whole promotion. So I don't know. Hopefully they at least get an event. That's like fair. You need to at least give these guys an event, see how they do. I don't think they'll make a profit because like the amount they're offering these people, from what I was reading, is fucking insane. I think they were offering like all up, they're going to pay 22 million. Where are they going to get the profit? How are they going to make any profit from these events? I don't think they're going to make any, but at least a bunch of retired fighters will get a good payday and probably call it quits after this. But we'll see if it happens. Hopefully it does. Because it'd just be interesting. I've also heard that maybe they're going to just turn it into a massive mega event. the two May cards are just going to be one event. I've heard that's a possibility, but I don't know. I guess it would depend on if they when they find a new venue. If they find a new venue, like I don't know. There's a lot at play here, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's just this is a freak show promotion. Nobody thinks this is legitimately going to be like a rival to the UFC. Like nobody thinks that. If they do, they're crazy. But it will just be interesting to see how some of these fights play out because there are some pretty interesting fights. Like I wanna see Yoel Romero versus Gegard Mousasi. I think that fight's been booked, right? Because it was meant to be Shogun. Now it's Gegard Mousasi. Like there is some really cool fights, like Douglas Lima versus Uriah Hall. Like there's a lot of interesting fights I actually want to see play out. So I at least hope we get to see these fights because like these matchups actually seem semi interesting. Obviously, then there's some mismatches with like old men versus like young guys, but again, it would just be interesting. I want to see how this all plays out. Like I love a freak show, so I'll put like $20. Hopefully, they'll get this thing up and running. But yeah, crazy the plugs 20 GFL 2025 to 2025. We hardly knew like this is like if the GFL doesn't even do an event, this is like the first time a MMA promotion's just straight being aborted. Like we didn't even get to a card, we didn't even get to an event. Got aborted before we even got to see what this thing was made of. Who knows? The pacing, there's so many answers. Like, how would the pacing be? Would it be as bad as the PFL? PFL's got horrible pacing. Maybe this thing would really be some crazy stuff. Like, they did all that AI for nothing, man. For nothing. But, again, I hope this all works out. I hope they can get a few events and some of these legends can get paid. And I hope it pays off for the guys who left the UFC because they got told that they were going to get better payment and they were going to get all these benefits like uh, health insurance. Like that was a big thing the GFL was going to do. They were going to give them health insurance, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, it all plays. Imagine we're all wrong. The GFL, we're all laughing at the GFL, and they come through. They're having a massive event. Gets all of this publicity, this extra publicity. Everyone's talking about it, and then they just go on and become the number one promotion. Won't ever happen, but you never say never. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and just like before I go, like there was a few fights, like I don't know, like there's a lot of weird freak show fights. Like they've got a lot of like, isn't Rebellis to Spain fighting Todd Duffy? Like that's a weird fight, but there was like so many like interesting like old time versus new time era matchups that I'd be like semi interested in. Like Rebellis to Spain versus Todd Duffy would be so funny because either to Spain's just gonna knock him out cold immediately, or he's just gonna get taken down and not get up. Like there was so much meme potential in the GFL. For my own sake, I hope this all goes ahead because I love me a good meme card. I'll literally if the GFL goes ahead, I'll live stream a card. How about that? I'll do a live fight companion if the GFL gets a fight card to go ahead. But anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.